Hello, it is us. We are here. I know that I can hear me. Drew, can we hear
Oh,
you? Oh, we
oh
can hear
man,
you. Hey, it's
Lydia, that's
us.
adorable.
Yeah, we look like serial killers, and I'm pumped.
Oh, I
it's,
love
it's my
this. Oh,
favorite thing about
this is
this
great.
this overlay. Um, Also, we have a chat box, which is pretty sick. That's super
Yeah,
cool.
new.
Um,
The paper dungeon is improving.
Slowly and steadily, we are doing the thing that you have said. I'm gonna move you
Also,
over a little
chat,
bit.
I will be eating uh while streaming, so you can deal.
Not forgiven. Hi, we are the Paper Dungeon. That is what we are. This is Table Scraps. If you can't tell by the top left. Um, oh geez, what exactly? How do I normally start these things?
You got it. It's been a while.
We have a main campaign. We play Dungeons and Dragons normally. That's normally what we do. And we normally stream it on Mondays at 7 p.m. CST. And that's normally what we talk about here. And man, have we got some things to talk about in this one. There, I put spoiler warning in the title, so if you don't want them, I hate to tell you to leave, but you might not want to be here.
Yeah, big spoilers.
We love
And
having
thank
you,
you
but
for the reminder, Liv. We also have socials. TikTok apparently blew up today, so
A little bit.
great work out
That's
there,
lots of
Lydia. She's
attention.
our TikTok person.
Thank you.
blew up in a good way.
Yes, not like exploded, but like good exploded.
Because there's been both versions
like
for TikTok
yeah.
in the past.
Instagram and Twitter. We don't use our Twitter a whole lot, but we do put like notifications and polls on there sometimes.
Yeah.
And our Instagram is great. Lydia does all of her stuff, and she's great. Speaking of Lydia, Lydia has a store
Oh, I wasn't ready for that one.
that she should buy stuff. Well, I mean, you should buy stuff from her. Really cool. She makes really cool stuff, including hardcover notebooks. I'm a sucker for hardcover notebooks. There is nothing more in life that I appreciate more than a good hardcover notebook. Get some. They're so easy to organize. And they don't like bend. Oh god, I love hardcover notebooks. And cool shirts and hoodies. And do you sell hats?
Not at the moment.
We need to get you on that. I'm gonna adjust this chat box a little bit. The chat box is so finicky on Streamlabs to like get it to the point where you can actually see everything that people message at the same time. Oh geez, do we have any other random commands that we can put in to hype people up?
Maz just beat me to all of them.
Oh yeah,
so.
Our Discord. We have Discord, and it's absolutely sick. I answer questions there if you have questions about Dungeons and Dragons, or honestly, pretty much anything else. We just talk, and you can post art, and Leah posts art that she does. I know that she was working on something last night.
I posted it
what?
today. Yeah, I posted it today.
Heathen.
Sorry.
It's really good. Sorry. Get distracted. Yeah, when we hang out on the Discord pretty often, talk to stuff. Grant's really bad at watching it. Every time I'm like, yo Grant, did you see that thing in the Discord? He's like, no.
Like a loser.
But yeah.
Love Grant.
So join that. It's really fun. But this is Table Scraps, and we don't know what we're going to do. Most of the time, we don't know when we're going to do it. But this week we do know what we're going to talk about, because once again, this is your spoiler warning. If you haven't seen it yet, episode 53, right? 53, 54?
53.
53. If you haven't seen it yet, you're going to get spoiled if you keep watching.
It's a big one.
It involves our good friend Drew.
It does.
He plays a character named Kathyr.
He does.
A paladin. And also our other person here, other than me, Lydia, who plays a cleric warlock named Renaya. And
a Corlock? Is that what that? Yeah.
It's a. I'm gonna think about it over time. We'll get there.
Figure it out later.
But yeah, Kathyr just got straight up murked.
My bad.
Sorry. Yeah, by Renaya.
Slid.
So. Yeah.
Fated by straight up Renaya. As according to his wishes.
Yeah.
Right.
It was, you know, consent was had.
And then Lydia cried. It was great. We love female tears here on the Paper Dungeon because man, do they rake in the views.
Yep.
Because we are about the money and the viewership. That is what we're here for.
Apparently.
Yeah, so that was fun. And then some stuff happened. Grant and I are just jerks.
Oh, you guys are the worst.
Oh, we're horrible people.
Oh, you're the absolute worst.
We kind of ruined your life. And I don't feel bad about it at all.
It was real bad. Oh, it was so mean. It was hilarious, but yeah,
it was so much fun. And then Drew got some stuff. I think my favorite part of the episode was Drew not being in it for like 2 hours.
Yeah, right. Literally, we started the episode. Like, I'm doing my thing as Kathyr in the morning, just making some tea for everyone because that's something that's nice that everyone in the party likes except for Tarak. So it's like, I'll make some tea for everyone. It'll be great. And then like Lydia's like, oh hey, as Renai like, oh hey, do you want to go talk to Mouse? I'm like, oh yeah, that's a thing that we can do. We should go do that real quick. It'll only take a couple. It'll take like an hour at most in game. Right.
A little bit of backstory: they were cursed by a magic item that doesn't allow them to move more than a certain amount of distance away from each other until one of them kills the other one. So they went to approach her god, which is currently in the flesh, keeping back a barrier of demons and undead, to be like, yo, is there anything you can do about this? No, you may proceed.
Thank you. Thank you for the context, Aaron.
That's what I'm here for.
So went to Malice because, god of the arcane.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't work out as well as we would have hoped.
It didn't go as planned. No. Things went a little wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Just a little bit.
So for the viewers who have watched, I did not plan anything with DJ beforehand at all. Like again, like I didn't even register that mouse was a thing that we needed to do until Lydia brought it up in the episode.
It's my fault. It's all my fault.
So then when everything happened, I'm like, okay, how is this gonna happen? I was there for the ride. I was enjoying it. Like the 2 hours that I was gone was also 2 of my favorite hours of the episode because just seeing you guys
watching me cry.
Well, I was more Aaron and Grant.
We were having
Aaron and Grant
they were
making
hilarious.
me cry more.
Straight up.
The 2 of them were hilarious. And I loved the role play
Man.
that came out of it.
What happened was we got this curse thing. We go to my god to try to see if he can do anything about it. And he just reaffirms that, no, you have to kill each other to break the curse.
Yep.
Cleric, I have Revivify. Plan was I kill Kathyr, then I revivify Kathyr, and we hope it all works.
all lived happily ever after.
That was the plan. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. And then Kathyr failed to mention that Kathyr has died before. And when you die more than once and get brought back, the cost continues to go up.
Oh,
and
in my defense for that, both Drew forgot about that aspect, that mechanic that DJ introduced, and Kathyr did not know that is a thing.
Yeah, I mean,
So in both mine and Kathyr's defense, it was our bad, but it wasn't. Kind of wasn't.
It's okay. It was like her second time ever doing that spell before, so.
Yeah, and it worked great on me.
And it worked great the first time. What happened?
I don't. Who can tell really?
So then I officially killed Kathyr. Kathyr was dead, and Drew didn't have his camera on for a big chunk of.
It was actually close to 2 hours.
Yeah, it was close to 2 hours of stream. Drew's screen is just blank. I'm sobbing because I think I just killed one of my best friend's favorite character ever, and he's not coming back. Oh, dude.
So your character cries for 3 hours in the woods.
Lydia cries for 3 hours during stream, and Renaya cries for 3 days in her room.
and then so DJ, our wonderful DM, is like, yo, Lydia, is there anything else you want to do? And she's like, no, I just cry. And then he's like, all right, well, 3 hours pass, and Edward, who is played by Grant. Both Grant and I have the exact same idea as for how we're going to treat this, which is basically just like, oh man, so glad that we get to wake up today without any death anywhere around us after this big old war that we just fought last night. Oh man.
Also, favorite, like, I think that was one of my favorite track, like, lines, interactions ever.
It like, is clipped, like Tarak, and it will be on TikTok.
Like, Tarak waking up, skipping, back to the boat with his hammer. Just be a little princess. Oh, I loved it.
I was super not in track voice, but I'm like, this is too comedic for me to actually say it in the voice.
Well, what
it was half kidding, but it was so good.
It was like Tarak mixed with like Winnie the Pooh, and it just threw me. Oh, it was so funny.
Edward. So good.
And just with a little bit of Aaron in there,
and we just kept going too. Like there was no
Kiamora shows up, and you guys are like, "Oh, Kiamora," and I'm like,
"Oh no,
no."
Sad agony. I'm a painful
He shows up. After I'm like, no. It's like,
you'd be like, give us like an hour, man.
That's a bad idea.
Also, Grant mentioned to me afterwards, one of his favorite things that I did was just the constant, all right, here's a problem. Don't need to ask any questions about it. I'm just going to say the thing, let's move on.
You're just like, don't ask about it.
Don't ask, it's fine.
We're not going to answer.
It's pretty bad,
fine.
but it's fine.
It's secret. Look, in our party struggles, this doesn't concern you.
Yep. Move along, civilian. Yeah, and then, so I'm not going to lie. I was exhausted during that episode. I was so tired. I had, been awake since, 5:15 that morning. Worked, had not slept until we played, and I had only gotten a few hours of sleep the night before and the day before that. So I was phasing in and out through most of the episode, meaning that I only caught little bits and pieces of Kathyr's fat lore dump.
Fattest lore dump,
and
really.
Apparently, Maz also missed a little bit in that fat lore dump, because I'm pretty sure that you mentioned it. When exactly did you die before?
Okay, so again, major spoiler warnings. Kathyr's died before, and this is Kathyr's life story. So buckle up.
I'm ready. I'm fully.
I'm just gonna put it all back out there for the chat and for anybody who missed it and doesn't want to go back and watch it. Watch the VOD and or Aaron. So specifically, last time Kathyr died was while he was a slave to the Drow.
Mm-hmm. You were a Drow as well.
Yes. So originally Kathyr was a Drow.
Okay.
And actually, so this is actually kind of fun because this actually plays into how I created Kathyr, some of the backstory and history of how I created Kathyr. But we'll get into that in a little bit. But Kathyr originally was a Drow named Savid Uphilith. And Uphilith specifically, I can't remember the exact wording. Maybe I can pull it up, but more or less translated in the common tongue as bringer of pain.
Oh, that's fun.
And that was basically because in my mind with the Drow, your last name is given to you by your peers. Mm-hmm. It's very similar to the Orcs, actually, which I find kind of, which is kind of kind of ironic. And he was given that name for his unnecessary, even for the Drow, his unnecessary cruelty to prisoners, prisoners of war, slaves, all that fun stuff, right? And all that jazz. And so eventually he saw the error in his people's ways, and he does Kathyr doesn't even know what that was. I don't even know what that was. I just I told because what I told these is hey, Kathyr has 5 memories as a Drow. These are what they are. Have fun with the rest. So I don't even know what exactly made Kathyr snap, so to speak. But eventually he decided to go against the Drow, became a slave, was by far the most hated slave by both slave and guard alike.
Yeah.
And so then, which then led it to when the place that he was being held, what are they called? I have to
prison. Illithids.
No. So the place that the slaves of the Drow are kept are actually the old battlefields of the original Elven Wars.
Yes.
Between the Moon Elves primarily, but also even like orcs and stuff like that. And I can't remember. I think I named them like the scarred plains or something like that.
Sounds fun. I love some gross plains.
Yep. And so that is where they were being kept. But eventually a battalion of Moon Elves came through, freed most of the slaves. And so Kathyr initially, or I should say Savin, thought, "Oh, hey, this is great. I'm free." And before Blade stabbed him through the back.
Nice. Never mind. My bad.
And killed him instantly. Which was his final scar that he got as a slave. And is again like the blow that killed him.
And did the scars carry over?
Yes, they did. That was something.
And so you were born as a baby, right? Like you were born again.
No,
did you wake up in Kathyr's body?
Yeah, I was confused about that part of it.
How much isekai did you get isekai'd? That's the question that I have.
So, I'm curious at what the in-game interaction is going to be. So Kathyr, so Savid was 210 years old when he died.
Mm-hmm.
When he was killed and brought back, it was a version of reincarnate, which gave him a new body that was a little younger. I shouldn't say a little younger, a fair decent amount younger, but a little younger for an elf.
Yeah.
Which is, so he was born as, when he got his moon elf body, he was 140.
Okay.
Already. And the day that he woke up was, that was still like he literally woke up in a room, no idea where he was. He literally walked out of the door to the room, walked down a hallway, and there he sees the rest of the Ebenthar family basically celebrating Valno's birthday by also grieving their son Kathyr.
Okay.
Oh, that's so interesting.
Okay, so this was originally a different elf's body that you woke up in?
No.
Did that Kathyr actually die and then he just showed up?
So Kathyr is named after their first son.
Gotcha.
Because he basically, and the reason for that the Ebenthar family did that was because he came into their life and into their family's lives on that same day. Mm-hmm. So that was the same day that he was brought in with a whole bunch of other slaves. He was brought in and and taken care of, and that is all that's on that same day. The Ebenthar family accepted him to take care of him. Okay. And
so theoretically, if we go to your hometown, we could find a grave with Kathyr on it that is the original Kathyr, and his body would be in there. Follow-up question, is that the grave in the art?
Yes, actually.
Oh, I'm so good at Dungeons and Dragons.
Cool. That's so cool.
So if it hadn't been revealed with in this episode, right? Eventually I figure eventually we would have gone to his hometown in Rivelluna, in Munkari, and he would have shown you the grave and explained everything. Gotcha. Basically, because that was that spot is his go-to spot whenever he's trying to think and just kind of meditate. So yeah.
Well, that's neat.
So cool.
Well, that's
neat. Kathyr's the coolest.
Yeah. I understand why it would be a little confusing how everything happened, because obviously Kathyr didn't go into he didn't go in depth when he said it.
Right.
Yeah. And I'm sure all of this will come out again in game. But yeah.
So good at Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah, you know, yeah.
The puzzle pieces they were linking up.
But yeah, and so Lydia, the actual markings, the actual letters that I gave you is actually like Elvish, like so from the D&D, like D&D, like little in the player's handbook they give like the alphabet for like.
Go to the work to make a custom font for Lydia.
He did draw it out though.
Okay.
I drew it out for her. Yeah, I drew it out.
That's neat. And so let's continue with our little overview. So, Kathyr gets yeeted by Renaya. We're all sad.
My bad. Sorry.
Happens the best of us.
Sad.
But then, second half of the episode, Kathyr has a little death dream. He's like, I'm dead. I shall walk across this water like Jesus to this tiny little uninhabited island that is actually inhabited.
I'm pretty sure I just washed ashore. I didn't walk on the water.
Yet. I don't know. Died, came back after 3 days. I'm seeing a lot of parallels here. All right? Like, if gosh dang, Narnia can do it with Aslan, then I don't know why we can't.
I mean, I'm not saying we couldn't. I'm just saying, like, I need my ring of water walking.
Yeah. Do we not? No. That's a different campaign that I had a ring of water walking. But yeah, you had a fun little conversation with some things that I'm not gonna lie, still pretty faded in that moment.
I'm interested. And I don't know how much I'm going to go into it because I want to kind of save it for the next episode. But I want to know like why, because it took Kathyr 3 days to come back, and I want to know why it was 3 days.
No idea.
3
honestly,
is a special number. Track
could
go in on that.
Number. You know?
I love 3s.
I mean, I mean, oh boy, I mean, it could just be that was like DJ's just like, hey, it takes 3 days because it does, because he might have just done that, or it might have been significant because like there's 3 death gods.
I know. I was about to say
3 previous champions.
Something like
one
day for each god or something like that to be like, I guess we could bring it back.
Yeah, maybe
something along those. Yeah. The exact number of tears that Renaya needed to shed. In those 3 days.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Yeah, that's right.
A goblet, you know. But yeah, and then so you meet some. Also, was one of the previous champions a bear?
So here I'll pull out my notes for
they
the
barely conscious.
They shapeshifted from animals into themselves.
So basically,
and
each
one
of the
was
previous champions.
Boar.
Each of the previous champions, they have like an animal form, I guess that they're given that helps. DJ explained to me afterwards, like helps like signify their journey that they have had. And so the first one was a boar, who was actually like a very large burly man with like beard and like chest hair and like long hair, kind of like you, Aaron.
First one was
Aaron. Aaron. First one was Aaron.
First one was big, like slightly taller Aaron. Then the second one was a bear, who was a tiefling.
And was an eagle, right?
And the third one was an eagle. Yep.
Look at my memory.
Which was a human woman.
Yeah. Once again.
Yeah.
Super phased out during this moment, so I like through my sleep-addled brain, I hear a bear comes up to you, and then I don't remember anything past that. But I understood the context of like, oh, these are like previous champions, so I'm like, I was pretty sure that 2 of them were like actual people, because I remember tiefling being said, and then my brain was just like, it would actually be pretty rad if it didn't differentiate between like soul bearing creatures
just
and then just like
bear
is
the next fate paladin.
And that would be so cool. Like I would so play that character.
That would be fun.
Where you just walk up and like you're just a bear, and they're like, "What is this?" And you just start to glow, and they're like, "An emissary of God." Like,
Honestly, I'm waiting for like in the next like couple episodes or something horrible is gonna happen to the party, and like in a desperate moment, like somehow Catherine's gonna turn into like a stag.
Yeah, I hope that
like,
you. I hope that you
like,
multi-class.
I hope it's
like the party and run away.
You just like sneeze and.
I want you to multi-class into Druid so bad. That is the thing that I would like from you.
That would be
multi-class into Druid. That is my request.
See, Aaron, I would be tempted if it weren't for the fact that
you
I
were
need
a paladin.
I'm a paladin, and I need to get to 20th level.
Yep.
Like 20th level paladins are just beefy. Like, yeah.
Oh yeah. Also, yes, Nalif, you should send any cool RPGs or games that you think that I should look into or that we should play on the show over at Discord, because I like RPGs.
And there's an actual RPG recommendation like little chat.
Yeah,
you put it there.
Totally.
And speaking of Discord, Drew, did you look into Discord?
More recently, I have not, because I've been working and life has been busy. But I'm looking right now.
Weak excuse.
Weak
excuse.
I broke him.
Wow, that's like Eldritch Horror noise.
That's just beautiful. Lydia.
Yeah, I did a thing.
Lydia, also, we have a whole bunch of cool new, like intro stuff and things like that.
Like we got this new overlay, a brand new animated intro, like new overlays for like everything, like many and tons of different like animated things. Lydia's amazing. Lydia's really cool.
Also, I would like to state, Lydia, I didn't actually even expect a new overlay for Table Scraps.
Oh, I know.
And then she was like, "Hey, Aaron, did you see the new Table Scraps things on the thing?" And I was like, "No."
I want you to go look at
and my favorite thing is that, first off, the Table Scraps like kind of like logo thing that you have is like flawlessly done. And I mentioned beforehand, it looks like the like serial killer cutout letters, like where they don't want you to know what their handwriting is. Which is so good, because I think, Lydia, you said it. You were like, really encapsulates the
it's a good vibe for this
energy of Table Scraps, where it's like, we don't know what we're gonna do next. So how would you know what we're gonna do next? Lydia's great. That's the main concept that I want to get across with my statement here.
Yes, so anyway, Lydia is great. Yep.
Yeah. Thanks, guys.
So I want what are your guys' thoughts on the past episode, other than it was great, we all know. Like plans for the future, plans for the near future, plans for the far future. How does this affect everything you do and stuff like that?
Well, I've talked to both Lydia and Grant as of late about so Kathyr. Kathyr is one of my favorite characters I think I've ever played.
Makes sense.
Which I think goes without saying, because like this is like when you get to play in like this like heavy of like a story like role play based kind of thing. Like your character develops in very unique ways than it does maybe like, and even just a home game that has a lot of focus on story, just because the general atmosphere is just different, right? And so, but for a long time, I always had to play Kathyr, and I always had to like hold back a little bit, because like he has this huge secret that he's told literally no one ever. And there have been a couple times in the past actually that he came pretty close actually to talking to some people about it, which really shocked me actually when they happened. But now that everything's out there, I get to just enjoy Kathyr, and he can be like the cool youth pastor,
Oh man, that's
like,
such a good Kathyr vibe.
He could just hang out, be helpful, like Renaya and Edward could just be like, "Yo, Kathyr, we need some help."
You can lose a little bit of edge.
just a little bit.
So does that mean that you no longer have the whole gotta kill Renaya maybe, or is that still there?
So that is going to come up next episode.
Good to know. Also, question for you from Maz: if Kathyr had stayed dead, would you roll a new character or bring back Leshka?
At first, I probably would have just brought back Leshka, probably just because he's already a character that everybody knows, and
that way you could die again.
That way I could die again, right? And just because, he's a character that everyone knows, and the party knows more, specifically, and is somebody that they're like, oh hey, we could really still use another hand here. Maybe we could try and contact Leshka and see if he could help out, because he's helped us in the past, and we don't want just some random person. But then, depending on how that went, I might have talked to DJ about a new character. Maybe played one of the I always have characters in the back of my head. Aaron and I are very similar in the fact we just have so many that we could just okay, we're gonna pick this one today. So yeah, I probably would have figure one of those characters out.
Give it some time with Leshka, and then once you have it all figured out, bring in a new one.
But that wasn't necessary. So
yeah, exactly.
We can all celebrate. It's good times.
Lydia, your thoughts, plans, statements about the future. I should also state, people seem to be misunderstanding. Most youth pastors are absolutely yoked.
Oh yeah, is that true?
It's a requirement. You have to at least you can't be ripped, but you have to be at least athletic dad bod, where it's you probably go to the gym at least twice a month, but not any more than that.
Yeah, no, not any more than that. No, not at
all. As far as me with the episode, I was genuinely so sad. My heart hurt so much. I mean, I was having a blast. I mostly just felt really, really, really bad that I could have possibly taken Kathyr away from Drew. And then I think Drew did a phenomenal job playing Kathyr throughout the whole thing.
Especially the beginning, parts where he wasn't on screen.
Especially that part. That part
really well done. Really well
nailed
done.
It. But in the beginning, comforting Renaya and convincing her to do it and that it would be okay and things like that. That was really sweet.
Else. Making sure that no one else was included.
So Lydia and I actually have talked about that.
Mm-hmm.
And so, because the thing is, right, with my thought process with it and with Kathyr's, was that this first of all, he wasn't exactly worried when it came to coming back.
Mm-hmm.
Whether or not it was Renaya who actually brought him back, or whether or not it was Death, he was going to come back. Drew was 95% confident that it was going to happen. And so in that sense, I wasn't all that worried. But also it was at least in my mind, it was a moment between Kathyr and Renaya, and that was the most important part of it and most important aspect of it. And sure, they could have waited for Tarak and Edward. I know, obviously, Aaron, you would have loved to be there, as you've mentioned several times now.
Oh, I just like to pick on you. I think it was great.
But I don't think. But in my mind, it wasn't a good idea to involve Tarak and Edward, because it would have taken away from the moment between Kathyr and Renaya and the significance of that, and they also probably would have talked them out of it.
And
nah.
I also really liked.
Tarak would have handled Edward.
I also really liked that it was just them two, because I feel like if Lydia knew that Tarak and Edward were there, Lydia wouldn't have been as intense in the role play, and I don't think I would have had such a strong reaction or such as because all of that was like so raw.
Wouldn't have been
like
able
everything.
To fill up that chalice of female tears.
I would have totally cried and totally been devastated. But as far as like the role play part, I think I would have almost like held myself back a little bit.
Oh yeah.
So I was also happy in that way that it was just a moment for them too, because it pushed me to have to do the scene totally by myself.
Yay for growth, both in real life and in game.
Man, all the tears. But yeah, and then I really, really, really loved. I was telling Drew about this when we were talking. I loved the very subtle shift in Kathyr once Cathyr's back.
Oh yeah.
Because like just the like weight off the shoulders, happier, more fulfilled Kathyr was already like starting to be seen. Like as soon as he got there.
Also, your gods are jerks. This is the worst. Like, this
is
the worst. We're gonna give you a trial run. And, like they're like the worst type of employer. Where it's like, all right, well, basically, we're going to give you an unpaid trial run, where you're basically going to work for us for a year, and then maybe at the end of it, if I think that you did a good enough job, you'll get brought on as like an unpaid intern.
An unpaid intern.
Like maybe, but you'll get college credit for it. So
hey, but that's money in its own right.
Don't listen to that. Those of you watching, unpaid internships are not super great.
Yeah.
And then yeah. So and just the interaction of Kathyr coming back and first immediately being like, I need to find Valna. That was hilarious to me. It was just immediately get there, realize what happened, sprint, and then get smacked. That was hilarious.
So I love any so my favorite part about Kathyr is thinking of it from the perception of like normal people who happen to be nearby Kathyr, because like for the rest of us, it's like we're doing like normally when Renaya does something crazy, it's like magic. So they see magic and they're like, okay, it's crazy, but it's magic. So like, okay, I can kind of understand. When like Tarak does something crazy, they're like, okay, but he's an orc.
Right.
So, it's whatever. Edward doesn't do crazy things. But when he does, it still kind of has that magic thing.
Yeah. And it's kind of Edward's character trait that he's like the most down to earth,
normal one.
Yeah.
Out of all of them.
And then you have Kathyr, who just like, hello, I am a very well built elf. I'm just gonna do random stuff that like, to the normal person is completely out here. Like no magic involved. Like according to them, they like first one. Throwing like 100-pound like bolts like off of a ship at a dragon just by sheer power of muscle strength, and then they literally hang around an entire like ceremony dedicated to your death, and they watch your body get burned, and then they're like,
and
all
your
right,
ashes get collected
100%, like whole body. And then, like, I'm gonna put myself in the perspective. Hi, I'm Kyle. I am the butcher's son. I have been drafted into this war for my country, and I'm super excited to fight for it. But like, still a little
been here for a couple months.
There are also these like really crazy warriors that are here, and they like fought a dragon on a flying boat. And I'm really glad that I wasn't a member of their crew, because apparently they have skeletons on it. Their sails are made of skin. It's real freaky. They've got this really tall, scary orc guy, and like this really wimpy looking pretty boy who's probably rich and won't like me. I'm just gonna go chop wood because that's my main role right now since we're not fighting anything. Then he like looks up, this like 6'2" buff elf in gleaming white armor that he just watched die sprints past him, and they're just like, huh? Like, I thought that was the like cool elf guy that died.
Wait a minute.
Hold on.
I think, Aaron, to that same point, I think some of my favorite thing, one of my favorite mechanics. So Kathyr has the sentinel feat. And I love the thought process of how that theoretically works, because literally it's just like it could be like, you know, a gargantuan dragon, and it tries to escape Cathyr's melee range, and I hit him. Literally, it's just like exactly. Somehow I box out a dragon, or like I stab it like in the toe, and like just keep it there or something.
It's like a barbed javelin, like it just hooks in. You're like, nope. Oh man, Dungeons and Dragons is a hilarious game.
Yes, it is.
Where so much realism can be really fun, but like also just thinking of how game mechanics work. I literally think of them like video game status effects.
Yes.
Where it's like, and it's the same exact attack movement that you've made the past like 90 times you've pressed the attack button. Mm-hmm. But then a little square pops above up above the dragon's head, and it's just like movement reduced to 0, speed down, and then just hangs there for like 6 seconds. And that's what I think of, just like World of Warcraft debuff. That's all I can think. So we are. Oh, also we should tell you, hey, a little cool thing that was not announced on stream, so you guys get to be the first ones to hear it. We all leveled up.
Oh yeah.
We did it. We're now level 9.
I got XP from killing Kathyr.
Yep.
Hey. And I got XP for coming back.
Edward and I got XP for being incredible comedians.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Every laugh, a fairy was born. So.
I mean, with all the jokes aside that like you guys had Tarak and Edward do, like Edward and Tarak did a pretty good job comforting Renaya afterwards.
Yeah. And I am super like impressed with Edward. Like from this episode, like he kind of like really stepped up to the ball plate and like, you know, he hit the ball. He got a home run. You know, I think.
Oh yeah, Edward did very good.
Like, because like him kind of like filling the shoes that he always saw Kathyr filling, I think is really cool in the sense of like just one showing how like important like Kathyr was at least to Edward, and really the rest of the party. But also like Edward kind of in a growth of sense of like, okay, well, now there's this void that somebody has to fill, so I guess I'm going to fill it.
I love how it was also like a mixture of like disgust and disappointment. It wasn't like sadness or anger. It was just like, Cathyr's dead? Ugh.
Yeah. It's like, well, of course he would have Renaya kill him.
Yeah, of course. That's such a Kathyr thing to do.
Classic Kathyr.
I mean, it is, right? Because, he did. Like, that was 100%.
Like... and Tarak's right there with you. He's like, that was the best play you could have made, honestly. Like, there were so many... And now, Renaya can hang out in a room.
Now I can go to the Demon Palace.
Closed.
I could go to the
biggest
Demon
takeaway
Palace.
from this episode.
Right.
I'm so excited.
Oh boy, but we are on our way now. We got on the boat. We're on the boat now.
We're on the boat.
Because we didn't say it like on stream. Or maybe I did. It was like, hey
no,
DJ.
We
did
it on stream.
And we're on the boat headed to the place that way we don't have to deal with it the next time.
We're just on the boat. We're already going.
We're on the boat. We're going.
I have, for the majority of the important things, I have completed DJ's guide to the Scarlet Wastes. I do need to. I will refine it as we go and like draw things and like make it into a full. I'd love to make it into like a full PDF that I can like share on the Discord and stuff, and put it on the website and things like that. So that'll probably be a thing. But boy, there are so many things in there that are going to make you so upset, Drew.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, there's literally there are some things that I was like, oh man, I don't know what else to put in here. I feel like I need a couple more things. What can I do? Then I was like, what are things that Kathyr can do that DJ probably finds really annoying and would like to avoid? Great. And then I just like I would make monsters specifically to counter things that you do.
I hate you.
I know.
See, okay.
And
although
it isn't
now
like
here's my question.
Here's my question,
though,
but
Aaron.
I find it so funny.
Did you do the same for the rest of the party?
I mean, yeah. So the thing is, right, you're the only character that has specific... So, like, Tarak's biggest benefit is that he just has a bunch of health.
Right.
Renaya's benefit is that she does, like, a lot of magic damage and also heals. So on those kind of things, I can do some things to kind of counter some of that with, like healing and things like that. Like there's a monster in there that as a reaction to a creature gaining HP can instead remove the HP gained and turn that into damage. Which is super really dangerous. Brutal, especially for paladins too, because we don't really do like small time healing. We touch and we're like 45 HP that can immediately turn into 45 damage.
That's tricky right there.
Scary.
And it's just really concerning because you don't know, are they going to do that? Are they around? Stuff like that. So like I can kind of do that, but you are the one who has the most like niche things that you can do, like stopping people's movement and things like that. And there's just like certain status effects that you can put. Actually, it's probably you and Edward who get the most hard countered, which is funny because Edward doesn't even do anything.
He's there for moral support. It's fine.
Yeah, there's a couple of things in there that are pretty rad, I think. And a lot of like, there's also a lot of scenic things and like environmental things and random encounters that can happen that aren't necessarily dangerous or anything, but are just really cool. And I'm really excited about that.
I mean, from what you've shared already, it sounds absolutely epic.
I'm very yes, I'm both excited and terrified.
Yeah, I'm so excited for every single episode that we're in there for something to happen to Kathyr, and you just go, I hate this. This is all I'm really looking for.
And that's that's something I still to this day, like, I find the most fun in playing Kathyr and just having little to no reaction to this just ridiculous stuff. Like, you know, like, especially with Edward, because Grant always tries to get something out of Kathyr.
Oh, 100%.
But it's like, it's always my favorite thing to just be like,
I am serene and stoic. 'Tis my purpose.
Like, and so like I'm waiting for like some terrible thing to happen to the party while we're in the waste, and Kathyr be like, man, that sucked. All right, let's keep going.
Well, this is rough. That's incredibly unfortunate. I think the best part about it is statements that are like way too long, but that just end really disappointing. Like, well, I find this matter incredibly unfortunate. And like a meteor is falling from the sky, and it like took you so long to say that, and it wasn't even like, I find this incredibly terrible situation, I'm terrified, like anything. No, it's just, this is a real bummer.
This just sucks.
Oh man.
Cowabunga.
Yeah, and what I'm honestly hope that we managed to avoid a lot of the things, because one of the things that I wanted for the desert is like, if you know what to do, you can avoid a lot of the dangers. Like if you know what to look out for, what not to do, what to do if something happens.
Because like there's a reason Tarak.
Yeah, Tarak had to get through there somehow.
Yeah.
And if I didn't include anything like that,
we'd already be dead. We might as well be going to campaign too.
I wouldn't have a track. One of my favorite examples is there's a creature, and so the best part is the ways that you avoid them have to be Edward's biggest nightmare. One of my personal favorites is there are blood golems. There's so much blood and rampant magic that it forms a core of solid magic and blood that creates a golem around it that cannot see, but it can smell living creatures. And so it hunts down any creature that enters its territory, up to, like, depending on how big the battle was that, like, caused it, like, miles. It'll hunt down creatures for miles at a time. And the best way to avoid it is to cover yourself with the blood of a dead animal.
I remember
so that way it smells the dead blood and not the living blood. Which, like, obviously, Tarak's the only one who's like super okay with it. Kathyr's like, well, we gotta do what
he'll do it. He'll deal with
like I'm not a fan of it, but if that's what we have to do to live. And then Renaya, I
Renaya's
feel
been covered in blood before.
Yeah, it's not the first time. It's like
it was this last episode too. So
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
It's better a dead animal than a dead friend, right?
Yeah, exactly.
But
Improvements.
Edward will hate everything. Like the amount of things that are just like, all right, well, we're gonna have to go here, and hey, can you take the animal carcass out of the bag of holding now? Edward's like, why? What are we doing with that? Like, super pumped for it.
Just like, well, you see that mass of blood that seems to be following us.
I found that.
So we need to like just hold still, Edward. We're just gonna hold this over you a little bit. Just don't move.
Adrenaline shower.
Just open it up.
It's like one of those showers that you just pull the rope.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh no, I don't like that visual.
Oh man, yeah, I'm so excited. I've also put in a couple of things from previous editions that aren't in 5th edition yet. And I've changed them up a little bit. I've even made a couple of them a bit stronger. Because they were originally like not exactly run-of-the-mill monsters, but probably like lower mid-level monsters. And I'm like, these would be so much cooler if they were like challenge rating 20.
What takes away the epicness of all that you've created for me is the fact that you're handing it over to DJ, and DJ is the most excited person. So when he sees something he really likes, he instantly implements it. So we're just gonna have like all of them all at once.
Oh yeah, I fully expect us to hit every single thing that I put in this guide.
At least once.
Yeah, and a couple of them, I want it to feel like a comprehensive, like, ecosystem of creatures, where like there are some that like work together or kind of hang around the same place. One of them, one of the monsters from previous editions are called Sand Brides, and they were originally Fae. They're from Dark Sun, the Athos world of like 3rd and 4th edition, maybe 2nd even. I don't remember. But they were Fae that when the magic of Athos got corrupted, they turned into like vengeful kind of desert sirens that like make mirages and illusions to lure people and then suck them of the liquid and turn them into like little dry husks and stuff like that. Really fun. They're one of the ones that I included and also kind of buffed a little bit and made them into bigger, like, ooh, oh shoot, oh no, kind of things. But there's another creature called a Ripper that are dragonflies the size of small cats with the claws of praying mantises.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah, they're great. But they, because of the way that they are, it's a tree because of the way that it is. They cannot be fooled by illusions. They are immune to illusion magic, so they will hang around the. Yeah, exactly. They also cannot be hit by opportunity attacks. So they're just Kathyr because they're wicked fast.
Now I'm curious as to the function of it, because is it because they are constantly under the effects of disengage?
No, they have an ability. It's actually a pretty common ability for a lot of birds and things like that they have a, like, if they move, it's like a swooping attack. So like they move and then they can strike and continue moving without provoking opportunity attacks.
The only reason I ask is because part of the function of Sentinel is that even if a creature disengages, I still
yeah, it isn't a disengage. It just says they cannot be hit by opportunity attacks.
Right.
I'm dying.
That sucks.
Yeah, 100%. Rippers are great.
Why would you do this to me, Aaron? This is like my only function.
I know. It's welcome to things that I put in because I was like, what does Kathyr do that I can ruin his life with?
Because Cathyr's had it so easy the past episode.
Yeah, lost his javelin of lightning, just died.
He'll have a little bit of time because we have to deal with the dwarves first.
Yeah, that's right. That's true. We'll have at least probably at least 2 or 3 episodes with the dwarves. Probably.
Yeah. But rippers hang around. There's a type of plant called a razor wisp. That are really cool, and they also hang around the layers of sand brides because since they're not affected by illusion, sand brides are really no danger to them. So they just kind of hang around. They don't really have a whole lot of liquid in them to begin with. They're dragonflies. They aren't harming them in any way. And they make it sometimes easier for sand brides to kill their prey. So why would they interfere with each other? Which is a fun little DM tip to world building, is a lot of the time you'll have multiple really good ideas when you make a world. The trick is figuring out, and this can add so much to a campaign or even just a world, how do the really cool things that you like interact with each other? Do they like each other? Do they dislike each other? Are they neutral? Do they work together or against each other? Do they even know about the other one's existence? And that can add so much of just like, oh, like that's makes sense, and it's really interesting and fun for the players who eventually pick up on that, especially if you have like multiple of the same thing happen, where you can be like, and this is one of the things that Tarak will do, is he'll see a certain thing and be like, we need to get down, we might see this coming up, don't do this kind of thing, because like, if he sees a ripper, he knows that they often congregate around razor wisps or sand brides. So like if you see an oasis, run. If you see a glint of silver in the distance, we need to get ready to dodge for flying knives. Like those kind of things. And it really can tie a location together when you have environmental effects and creatures that see and interact with other environmental effects and creatures.
Right.
So fun little DM tip. Make your things work together or against each other. Make them know that the other one's there.
I'm really excited because we haven't had a kind of new environment.
Oh yeah, it's been a while.
Run-in since like the Feywild.
Oh yeah.
Pretty much, yeah.
And that's pretty common for Dungeons & Dragons things, I think, is like you hit an area and you kind of stick to it.
Yeah, and that's why I'm excited for it, is because it's going to be like a little change of pace.
It'll be real different.
And it's so artsy. It's so pretty. But it's so terrible. Grant has been sending me music concepts for like the Crimson Waste and stuff. And it's been hilarious because we've been communicating how, like, what I want in it by just vibes. Like, if you were to go to Spotify and search for, like, songs of a specific vibe type, he's like, so this concept that I came up with, when I was writing it, I was thinking kind of magical mystery with a little bit of fear, but also, like, some beauty. And I, like, listened to it, I'm like, all right, so lessen the mystery, lessen the magic, increase the fear, add doom, and then you can keep the beauty, maybe up the beauty a little bit, but I want the overall theme to be hopeless. And then he'll be like, oh, okay, all right. He'll come back like 2 days later with like a different thing.
Gotcha.
And it's been hilarious, and he's been doing a very good job. Drew, I should ask, you said that you could be here for an hour. We have been going for an hour. Do you need to go? Do you need to do stuff?
Yeah, I was just waiting for a decent moment, but I do have to go. It's been a blast, though.
I'm sorry I killed you.
No, it's fine.
I'm glad you're back, though.
I don't forgive you. I just want you to know that. Yes. So, you can skedaddle. We're gonna have a little bit of a brief thing as our screen goes wonky. Also, by the way, buying a lift. And then I'll just transition to the 2-person, and Lydia and I will continue to do stuff.
Well, it's been fun. I'll see you guys later, and I'll see you later, chat, until probably next Monday. So, yeah.
Woo. Bye, Drew.
Haha. Did it.
Look at that. Nice.
That was our wonderful Drew. He plays Kathyr on the Paper Dungeon. Really good guy. It's a good time. So, I mean, give me the tea, Lydia. What are the things that you couldn't tell?
The tea? I do actually have some tea.
I know that you did. You always do.
But I think he's listening.
Oh, boot him. I'll ban him.
Don't ban him.
I don't see him in the current viewers.
Oh, let's see. What can I share? Well, I am really interested to see how Renaya is going to respond to everything that just happened.
Yeah.
Because even I don't know. And I actually want to talk with DJ a little bit and get some of his input before Monday happens, because I want to see if he has any ideas or things he's thinking about, because there's multiple different elements.
I'm really sorry.
Who is?
He's also on the Paper Dungeon account. And so it's the Paper Dungeon sends, you can't ban the Paper Dungeon, and the Paper Dungeon responds, how could you? That's so good.
That's so hilarious.
It's in the same color too. Oh, that's funny.
Oh, that's so good.
Oh man.
But yeah, I think because there's multiple different elements now that. First of all, I'm aware that Renaya and Kathyr are going to have to talk about this past episode just a little bit more.
I don't know. I think you can just leave it.
I don't think so.
It's not a big deal. Don't ask any questions. Just call it good and leave.
No, because Renaya is not Tarak.
Yeah. It's one of my favorite things about Tarak is literally anything happens that's like, oh, this is so terrible. I don't know if we'll ever get through this. And Tarak's like, oh, you're still on about that?
We're fine.
It's all
You're fine.
Cool, you know?
It's not a big deal. Because there's obviously Renaya's mindset when it comes to Cathyr's gods, which is not a positive one. But I have a feeling that Drew is going to do a great job of changing Renaya's mind a little bit, especially after talking about him dying and what all just happened with that. So I know that's going to happen. So I'm trying to figure out where Renaya's ending up, because there's so many different elements to it. There's so many things that could be talked about and could be touched on that also may not get touched on, and depending on what gets touched on, that could alter a bunch of things and blah blah blah.
Basically, there's a lot of touching.
Yes.
Which is why Tarak should not be involved.
But yeah, I'm really excited to see what all comes from that. And then I was talking with my mom actually about.
I think might actually be
in
our chat room at the moment.
Mom? I don't think she is. I think she's working right now.
I don't know.
That'd be really cool if she was there.
In the users under Mama Bear 9801.
Mom? Anyway,
oh no, someone just left. We scared her off.
But my mom and I were talking, and I was talking about how this happening was one of the best and worst things to ever happen to Renaya.
Oh yeah. In a lot of different ways, I imagine.
In so many different ways. Like, first, this is the first time Renaya's ever actually had to, like, face consequences for, like, the damage she's dealt.
Gotta love consequences.
Because, like, of course she's got the whole cult thing, but she wasn't emotionally attached back then. She didn't.
Yeah, exactly. It wasn't her doing it.
I mean, it was her. It was her, 100%.
I mean, yeah,
but
like, it also
she didn't fully process all of it. Yeah, not making excuses for Renaya, but
I killed hundreds of people, but it was. I mean, I was like brainwashed at the time.
she didn't get that kind of, she didn't have that realization of what all she was doing. She only knew that it was wrong because Lada was like, yo, don't do that, that's bad. And she's like, oh, now I feel bad. Okay. And then from now on, it has only been like bad guys that have that she doesn't care about.
That and like that. One semi-completely innocent soldier. But other than that,
he sucked.
I mean, he like kind of worked for the enemy.
He did attack us all, and Renai was.
I mean, he was only a little bit forced to do that.
I mean, just a little bit. He wasn't gonna talk. He was obviously on Prozius's.
Yeah. And definitely not talking is deserving of the death sentence.
Oh.
Very much so, in preferably the most brutal manner possible.
Just yeah.
Insta death, like.
And in front of the others too. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So this was the first time that she like fully recognized what she had done.
Mm-hmm.
And realized she couldn't do anything about it. Or that the things that she could do were not enough.
Mm-hmm.
And so that is both extremely good for Renaya, also really, really traumatic. And so I'm interested in that with her. And then there was one other thing I'm trying to remember. It popped in my brain and then it left. What was it? It'll come back later. But yeah. I remember. So it was I'm like I said, I'm really excited to see where Drew goes with the conversation, talking with Renaya, because Renaya is now convinced that these gods just have it, like, hate her. Like, they just have it out for her. They brought him back, but they didn't let him come back when Renaya asked for him.
I mean, that's basically like being like... I'm trying to... Let me think of a good analogy for this. Because I have one, but it's not great. Let's see. It's like you call someone's parents and you're like, hey, could you let Kathyr stay over for the night? And they're like, yes, but we can't do it tonight. Would in 3 days work?
See, but they didn't tell her in 3 days.
Well, they didn't. So they're their parents. They don't know how phones work. They thought that they were on speakerphone and they were in the other room.
Malice was standing right there.
Yeah, I mean, what? You think that they're going to then call your parents? Nonsense.
And pretty much Renaya's already been convinced that these gods just hate her. Because she's like, well, they're the gods of fate and the gods of death, and my life has been riddled with nothing but death and terrible fate. So they must really hate me. And then just this on top of it, where it's like, we'll give him back, but not when you want him back, on our own time. And she's just like,
yeah, Kathyr has homework to do, and he can't stay over until he gets it done.
So I'm really excited for Kathyr to give her a better perspective on that.
Yeah. I'm so excited for when you and Kathyr don't have to beef. You guys can just coexist as non-edgy people.
Well, I think we're getting there.
Edward and Tarak be the edgy ones for once. God. Sometimes all I want to do is be the one who is upset. That's why I'm excited for next campaign. I get to be so upset. Look, I know. I'm aware. Like legitimately, Tarak is such a... I'm fully aware of the things that I did have consequences, and I'm dealing with them. That doesn't mean that I have to appreciate it. And it's still great. But, like, every once in a while, it's like it's another analogy. Man, the analogies are coming really rough to me today, which is pretty rare. I'm normally a good analogy guy. It's like you bought groceries, and you bought groceries because, and specifically the groceries that you bought were like stuff for like ham and cheese sandwiches. Mm-hmm. And then you get home, and like a couple days later, you're making a ham and cheese sandwich, and you go, I'm gonna eat this, and I'm gonna like it because it's a ham and cheese sandwich. But man, I really could have gone for some salami. Like, it's such a, like, every once in a while you really get a taste for it. And you're like, oh man, I could really go for it. And I know that I didn't buy any. Because I'm like, I know that I don't always want salami. But every once in a while, it would be nice. Mm-hmm. Which is Tarak in a nutshell.
Well, and the thing is there's really only been one instance where that's kind of opened up for Tarak, which was with the other orcs there.
Oh yeah. Do you think you're edge a couple of times?
Well, do you think like once we find these orcs in Crimson Scarlet?
Oh man, there's so many things so many different ways that Tarak could go with the Crimson Way stuff, because he already doesn't like it. He's like, these people have not seen the things that I've seen. They mm-hmm. think that this is a good idea, and it's going to work, but you're going to get the right answer with the wrong equation. This will have untold repercussions for the enemy, the people that are working, and complete bystanders.
You'll get what you want, but what comes after is not what you want.
But at what cost?
Right.
But when it comes to actually being in the orc camps and things like that, I mean, I think Tarak will have to not exactly like change, not even have to change, but just kind of unconsciously do so in order to match what he has known for a long time. Kind of like like returning to a group that you haven't seen for a long time, and you kind of fall into not exactly old habits, but you like talk a little different, you walk a little different.
Right.
And part of that is just survival. Like he's going to have to, like he can't show as much, like, oh yeah, let's be goofy and walk around, because y'all will get slaughtered, and he can't let that happen.
Right.
But yeah, that's what I'm. It's a difficult question, and the think tank is running hard right now. But it hasn't quite come up with an exact solution, and a lot of it is because I don't know what DJ's going to do either. Nilith, the answer to your question is Tarak does have feelings. There are just specific ones that he is lacking. But yeah, it's like, I don't know if there will be members of Tarak's old tribe there. I don't know if like how the people will react. I don't know exactly how we'll get in, how the orcs will let us do our things. For all I know, because there are 3 general groups of orcs, and we want to hit the one that won't kill us immediately. We might not hit that one first. We might end up misjudging and being like, oh, this is the one, then we walk in and have to fight our way away from this group of orcs, and then try to find the other one. I don't know. We could find a small group in between there and have to deal with them. There's so many things that we might have to deal with that I don't know how I will need to react, so I just have to have so many different ways that I could react regardless of the situation.
And I'm so excited for this part of the campaign, because I think it's just going to be so epic, because first of all, like, you are super involved in it, and you are the expert. Your character is the expert on it. And normally in Dungeons and Dragons, like, you have a character who's an expert in this kind of thing, but a lot of that they have to refer to the DM on, okay, well, what does this work? But this, like, you and DJ get to kind of, like, have fun with each other and work, and he gets to drop hints at stuff you've already made.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm so excited to see that dynamic.
Yep. Like, it doesn't have to be, like, this from DJ being like, all right, you see off in the distance a brief flash of, like, wings and silver. Track, you would think that this is a ripper. And then maybe like, all right, what do I know about rippers?
Right.
And
you already know.
That's really fun. Like, I can just immediately be like, we're going to have to get behind cover. If you see anything that it seems out of place, like water or like a shelter or anything, do not go towards it. Definitely do not walk towards anything that seems relatively pretty. Also, get ready to fight a flying hell demon. Like, things like that. And I think that's going to be fun. Honestly, getting to the place is probably going to be the most fun part for me. The problem is when we're there, there's so many things that I can't anticipate and can't do.
Right.
Without, oh man. But like, I think I was talking to Grant about this. Could you imagine, so like, I've run through a lot of scenarios in my head. The most favorable is we're able to address both the council and the tribe at the same time. And it all kind of comes down to one good charisma check. Like a persuasion check of some kind. And so beforehand, you give guidance. Edward gives a bardic inspiration. And then could you just... And Tarak has his feature of a redemption paladin that lets him give a +5 bonus to persuasion checks.
Right.
Just imagine, like, I say the thing, DJ's like, please roll a persuasion check, and I roll max on the D8, max on the D4, and crit on the persuasion check, bring it to like, I think let's see, 25, 33, 37, and we get like 10,000 orcs. Like, all right, gang, let's cause world peace through war. It's just like delete off the map. It would be wild to like have a really, really good like persuasion check at the end of that to like get the orcs, because like right now Tarak's expecting that if we do manage to succeed and we don't die, we're going to end up with like 50 maybe out of 10,000 orcs that are like, yeah, okay. And he said that we could take back all of Ocleron with 200 orcs. That is his estimate, which is hilarious to me. like these people are like, yeah, we had an army of like several thousand strong and we still lost, and Trek's like, well, I think I could do it with 200. Probably. But like if we show up with like more than 200 orcs, like 500 or 1,000 orcs,
dude,
like that, it would be sick.
I'm terrified for when we first find them, just solely because you're the only orc and the rest of us are elves. Yeah.
I'm
so scared.
Yeah. That's why we need the group that won't kill on sight.
Yeah.
That sees us walk in unarmed, like not unarmed, because you want your weapons still on your person, visible but not in your hands.
Right. Not readied.
Yeah, like we want the group that will see us walk in not ready to fight and then be like, oh, that's strange, they clearly don't present a like a danger. Let's look at him, ask him what's up, and then decide to kill him after. Yeah. That's the goal. We can convince them with kill us after. We're just curious.
Yeah.
It is incredibly unfortunate that you are all elves.
Yes.
But maybe that's a really good thing. Tarak can work with that as long as we don't die instantly. So yeah, that's That's some of the things that I've been thinking of. What am I gonna say? What am I gonna do? What do I think DJ's gonna do? How do I counter that? And then how does he counter me countering him? What are the worst possible things for a track to see? What are the best? It's a lot of variables. A lot of variables. And as an answer to your question, Aleph, does track have any triggers? Probably. Am I fully aware of them? No. But DJ is really good about taking the things that I give him and being like, I don't know what you're going to do with this, but I'm going to put it in front of you, and I'm just going to let you decide what to do with it. And then I can kind of take that and run and have it be either something that Tarak is afraid of or interested in, or remembers harshly or anything like that. And I can kind of maneuver it like that. So we'll just have to wait and see.
I'm so scared.
It's
so unique though. I'm like, it's just really cool.
I wish that there were more things in Dungeons and Dragons that you just touched and died. Like there have been a couple. So like, Tomb of Annihilation and Tomb of Horrors are known for being like meat grinder dungeon runs, where like there's so many things that will kill you. Like, especially, I can't remember. Tomb of Horrors is the first one. Tomb of Horrors was that's like what it did. Like, there were even things in the dungeon that were specifically references to like the number of people that had died there, like adventurers, like corpses and bands of groups that were still running from things in the dungeon and encounters that you could have there. One of the things that stuck out most to me, because I actually ran through Tomb of Horrors once in 5th edition, because it was re-released in they had a book that released a whole bunch of old dungeons turned into 5th edition variants. And one of the things that stuck with me the most was there was a trap that you would walk into it, and it was a flat stone room where at the far end of the room there was a thin ray of light at the bottom of the ground, like just at the crack between the wall and the floor. So obviously the characters enter and they move towards the end, but then once they get to the end, the whole room begins to tilt according to weight. And so the room was like super slick, and then that ray of light was actually just a pool of lava that like eventually, as the room tilted, the characters would slide into. And if you touched the lava, your character instantly died. I loved it. It was awesome. Now, it was ran a little bit questionably. So I had the ability to summon an earth elemental on the other side of the room that just counterbalanced us easily. So, I mean, it wasn't that much of a threat to us, but had it been ran kind of correctly, like, it's really tough. Like, you need to get really lucky with your rolls in order to, because you have to make like dexterity checks to get back up to the other side of the room to weight it back down, so that way you don't keep sliding. But the more that you fail, the farther the room tilts, and you can't get back through the door until the room is sat back down, because it tilts up and blocks the door.
Right.
I love stuff like that. So I'm planning on putting in a whole bunch of like save or die kind of things in the wastes, because I want it to feel incredibly dangerous for anyone who goes in there, especially once I release the like book of the Guide to the Wastes. I want people to be able to take that and either change it for their own games, or use any form of inspiration or thought that they have for their own games and use that book for it. Regardless of whether or not it's in what's our world again? I can never remember its name.
Nico Muris.
I always want to say Riva Luna, but that's just a place in the world.
Yeah, and we haven't even been there.
Yeah, exactly. But if we like if they want to play in Nicomuris, they can, but if they just want to take stuff from it, I want to encourage people to kind of return to that emphasis of game in the game, where it's like, there are some things that will just kill you. It doesn't matter how strong you are, how skilled you are. Lava is really hot. Like, to the point where even people, like, in today's world, to view lava have to wear, like, full heat protective gear, and they can't touch it. Like, there is no thing in the world that is like, oh yeah, I can wear this and stick my hand in lava and be completely okay. And I love that. I love that kind of stuff. And I know that I have a couple of monsters that I've mentioned. I've even mentioned them on stream. The Cugglewampers. Cugglewampers that are just insta death machines if you fail the check.
Oh, so bad.
There's a location called the Burning Lands that is so in the center of the mountains there's that big volcano that is fed directly by the plane of fire.
I remember this. Yes.
But when they burnt the Scarlet Wastes and they became the Scarlet Wastes, the kind of curse that followed caused like ruptures and that portal to the plane of fire to shift and burn its way into a portion of the desert that just has like random lava pools and geysers of solid flame, where theoretically if you fell into like a brief break in the sand, you would just fall into a sea of fire and never be able to return. Another one of those insta-death things. I love them. Now, most of them we probably won't see or are pretty easy to avoid, like Cugglewampers. If you see a pool of water, don't go towards it. There are ways to check for this. Don't go towards them. We're not even going to be anywhere near the Burning Lands. So that's a thing. But there's a couple of things in there that we might see if DJ wants us to.
No.
And I love it. I think character death is so cool.
It's pretty neat. If done correctly, yeah.
You see, I think most people don't enjoy it. I love it. I love the risk of death constantly.
I love it too. Like, for me, I don't enjoy the game as much if I know I'm safe. Because then you're like, well, then you're not really playing a game. Then you're just...
Oh, yeah. It's the same thing, like, I think that what happened to Drew is very good for... There are certain characters that deal with it better than others, that it, like, fits in their arc and their story better. To have, like, characters that die and then are, like, brought back to life by something other than the rest of the characters. Like, Kathyr is a very good character for that to happen to. Renaya is doable in there. The main thing is that, like, a lot of creatures value her dead more than alive.
Yeah.
Havel was a character that could be kind of resurrected without traditional means, and it like fit in his story pretty well because that had already happened to him and stuff like that. But like, I prefer it. I think that it's a lot cooler when characters don't have that safety line where it's like, no, if you die, it isn't like some god will take pity on you. No, you just die, like 98% of the population.
Right.
Tarak and Edward are currently in that zone where it's like, we have no god that will bring us back, no extraplanar entity that's like, oh yes, I find interest in your soul. Nothing, no demons, fiends, or devils, like nothing. If you die, you're just dead. Which is why I'm most concerned about Edward in the wastes, because he's the one most likely to be like, I'm so thirsty. Is that water? And then, oh my, oh thank goodness I'm saved, and then whomp, gone. Like, oh that boy. Yeah,
poor boy.
I'm excited. I want to see a resurgence of people not only willing but excited to have characters die, which sounds really terrible. it sounds so bad because like I understand like it's a story and you're like really attached to these characters. Well, I honestly don't know what it is about it.
And I mean, and that's what I really liked about Bison and Between the Rows is because it gives you that opportunity to die and it just be the end.
Oh, 100%. And it also it also firmly tells you like not only is this incredibly common, but it's also expected, and so you should be able to make a new character really fast.
So it's like don't sweat. It's real free. It's real easy.
That happens.
And yeah, and I think it's really cool how our campaign approaches it, because it's definitely different when you're streaming a campaign.
Oh yeah.
Because it's like that's not really an element you want. You want people invested in your characters. You want you want to see their story play out, and you want to see a satisfying ending reached, whether that is in a death or not, kind of thing. And that's why I do enjoy the Between the Rows and when we play Bison, is because then you get that opportunity that we can't really do in the campaign setting.
A really interesting thought to me is because I know that I would watch that kind of show. That is much more game part of RPG than the RP part of RPG. That is very much a like we have 4 players, and all 4 of them have had 3 different characters over the course of this campaign. Like, people die pretty often, but they have to keep going. And I know I would love that, very technical aspect. So I wonder if there is an audience out there and it's just really hard to reach.
Right. Well, and I would still want there to be that roleplay element, because I'd still want to connect to the characters and be devastated by losing the character.
100%.
Because that's part of the fun for me.
I mean,
being heartbroken.
If you take out the RP, then you just have game, and so you might as well just be playing Monopoly.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm not saying that's the hard thing that I think it is to grasp, is that you can have a game you don't. I think a lot of people get confused when they hear old school revival and older editions of Dungeons and Dragons, and they hear people talk about it, and it's and you think oh, there really wasn't a whole lot of role playing, or the story wasn't that important. It was just people I have these numbers and blah 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 blah. The way that I look at it is that old school style RPGs use roleplay as a game mechanic, which I think is super cool. That is so absolutely my favorite thing, where it's good roleplay is a skill. Now you can exist in an RPG without being super good at it if you play old school and you have the numbers and the damage and the stats and the things like that. But using RP to influence the dungeon master's perception of things is a skill in its own right. And that's kind of how it always was, where if you set a thing really well, or you figured out this puzzle with your own mind and things like that, DMs lowered DCs or changed how things worked and did stuff like that. And so RP was still necessary, but it wasn't the focus of it. It was just a thing that you could use if you wanted.
Right. And that's what I would love to see more of in our main campaign too. Which is kind of tricky, especially with the storyline we have for it. But I really love when part of the challenge does come to the roleplay elements. It comes to the persuasion, it comes to the intimidation, it comes to it's not just. I love when the solution is not hit it enough times.
Absolutely.
And hitting stuff is so fun and all of that, but when you are able to talk your way out of a situation and realize what you were just able to evade, that's so fun.
Or even
that's
just
so cool.
Finding creative ways to make it hit it till it dies. Maneuvering and working with your team and setting up a trap or an ambush or something beforehand, or saying something that drives them to a certain location to do stuff, and even some of that role play that would cause that to happen without needing a check behind it. like if you gain information about an NPC that's like, oh, they're like a bull, they hate the color red, or they like are terrified of this certain thing, or they can't stand this noise, using that and it just working is like something that I love both as a player and a DM. It's just be like, oh, if you hear the things that I say and you listen and interpret them correctly, you can just do it and it'll work. Like you don't need to check for this. Like that kind of stuff I love. So yeah, it's a thing that I think a lot of, especially people who were like raised on 5th edition, haven't really experienced a whole lot, especially in like even like games that you watch. It's really hard to find like good like older style games, which sounds really patronizing and gross, and I hate to say it. But it's kind of true. And that's something that I kind of try to focus on in my own DMing, especially in 5th edition. Coming up with stuff like that, I think it's an absolute blast. I think it can be done well. It's just pretty difficult.
Yeah, and I think it's really cool. I think what's really cool, and it's kind of obvious that this is how it would play out, but is in like us 4 players in the main campaign, and DJ with his playing style, his DMing style, we've all found ways to kind of hone in on the elements we like.
Oh yeah.
And then it's all bounced out, so we all get the elements we want, while also complementing what other people want as well. Like the Scarlet Wastes, Crimson, Scarlet.
It's both.
Red. Okay.
The Red Desert.
Because it's like that brings in your like world lore and your more game mechanics and your insta death and your intensity and things like that. And then like me with the Ninthful, it brings in this like extra outside challenge that I have to navigate as well. Oh yeah. And then like Edward has the more political side where Grant can talk his way out of things and like schmooze and things like that.
Kathyr just gets to be ripped and hit things.
And then Kathyr just gets to be ripped and hit things and get to have epic character moments all the time. Yeah, so it's really cool. I'm so excited for Scarlet Waste to bring in that element. That's gonna be so fun.
This is completely off topic, but I got distracted by this thing that I noticed was on my table.
Okay.
And this is actually something that I would like to do, and we've even talked about it a little bit in the past, of like wanting to support creators that we find really interesting or cool. So there was a Kickstarter that I backed years ago, and it isn't ongoing right now, but the creator of it has had a bunch of rough stuff happen in the past like couple of years. They're finally getting like relatively back on track, and so they were able to finally send out the like physical stuff for the Kickstarter recently. And so I've actually been using the dice from that Kickstarter for Tarak. They have these cool like they're like electro kind of like electric orange and blue. My camera's not focusing on them, but that's fine. With really, really easily legible numbers, which is something that a lot of dice makers don't do, which I appreciate because I'm blind. But yeah, we actually played in the world. It's the Retroverse. That was like the first thing that we actually streamed. Like it was on
Queenie, Trauma Queen.
Yeah, it was on Hannah's channel, I think, right?
It was. Yeah.
That's a deep cut.
That's a deep dive.
And I've used some stuff from it in like other campaigns and influence and stuff. But if you are ever interested in finding someone that you would like to support that we like, search up Retroverse or Lasers and Liches. I noticed because I have this snap bracelet that was part of the package.
Well,
and it's this, and they have super good art. It's really, really cool.
You just
and they could use as much support as you could give. Do you also have a cool Kickstarter?
It's not a Kickstarter, but it's a thing you can get that I've been meaning to talk to you, Aaron, about specifically. I haven't checked it out yet. I still have to like look in, like I have it, but I haven't done it yet. But it's this thing called Art Quest.
I'm
Have you
already
heard about
interested.
it at all? Okay, so it is literally a like gameplay like portfolio building thing.
Ooh.
It's like an adventure portfolio,
like
art portfolio. Art? Yeah. And so you get, I'm going to do a terrible job explaining it, but it's like you will get this like overarching kind of storyline that you get to build, and you start with your own character that you create, and it creates this cohesive portfolio, while simultaneously you get to do like these side quests and like meet these NPCs and interact with all this stuff. It's like, it sounds so cool, and I have it.
You own it?
I have it.
And you haven't told me about this beforehand?
I've like just gotten it. Like I was like, it was probably at like 3 a.m. I'm scrolling through Instagram in bed, and it comes up as an ad, and I'm like, I'm intrigued. And I go and I look at it, and I'm like, okay, this is actually kind of cool. And they have I think 3 currently that you can like do. Like there's a starting one, and then there's like 2 others that branch off or go more into depth with it. It's really cool. I'm gonna find the name of the guy.
I love playing RPGs of all types, because I think so. Dungeons & Dragons is really, really good, but it hits a very specific niche of TTRPG. And I think that you can do so much with the concept of roleplay plus game that Dungeons & Dragons doesn't necessarily lean towards. It's a very moldable format of like, these are the dice you use for specific things, here's a general perception of balancing, take that and run. You can do all sorts of stuff with that, but there are certainly other systems that do better in specific areas like mystery and horror and things like that. That you could do in Dungeons & Dragons, but I would prefer in other ones. And so I'm always looking for RPGs and things that people like. I bought like 5 that were part of a Kickstarter that I backed for Vyson, and I'm going to get them in June. And the fact that I have to wait until June to get them makes me so incredibly sad, but I'm still the amount of excitement that I have overpowers the sadness. Which is why if anyone ever has any RPG that they look at for even a quarter second, they're like, oh, this looks pretty neat, send it to us on our Discord, because there is a high chance that I will at least look at it, and if I look at it, there is at least a chance that we may play it on stream at some point in time when I'm like, guys, this is super sick, we should play this. Do it. Be in the Discord. Send it to us. It's awesome.
I'm not gonna try to pronounce his last name, but it's this guy Nick. He's a concept artist, and then he's got his website, and it has like all the different stuff he works on. They've got the Art Quest stuff available, and then they also have other things as well that they offer. But yeah, it's really cool, and I'm really excited to try it out. I haven't tried it out yet, and again, I literally found it on an Instagram ad and was like, I want it, and then immediately bought it, and am now waiting to do it once I get back from our trip.
I'm excited. I'll be back to that briefly. The name of the creator of Lasers and Liches, aka the Retroverse, is at Snicklesocks. I'll type it out. It's at
This is so fun.
Ooh,
I love things.
Is it gonna let me? There we go. On Twitter, and the artist that does really, really, really cool art, does all the art for the Retroverse stuff, is Laser Lluis, Lluis on Twitter as well. Although I think it's actually their name on Twitter. If you go to Snicklesocks' page and scroll down, he retweets like all of his stuff. The art that Lluis does is phenomenal. All sorts of like super, super creative, really incredible art. But yeah, check out those things. But yeah, just in case any of you didn't know, Lydia just mentioned it. We've talked about it on stream before. Lydia and Drew and DJ are all going to be in the straight up hometown Nebraska with me and Grant, which means that not this next episode, but the episode after it, right?
Yes.
We will be in person. And during that time, Lydia will be staying at my place, and Grant and will be staying at his. DJ and Drew will be staying at their families, which means that I have to get everything ready. And then we're gonna stream from here, and we're gonna figure out how to do it.
You want to know what's gonna be so fun though?
So many things. What?
I'm gonna be there in person, and if we do table scraps.
Yeah, that is accurate. We're gonna have to figure out how to do that. Crap.
That's gonna be fun. It's okay. We got it. We got it.
It'll be hilarious if you're just streaming from the room above us. We're just a Zoom call directly above. We can't figure out how to do it in person. Oh, that's so funny.
But yeah, but I'm so excited. But yeah, our next episode this upcoming Monday. We'll be doing it, and then 4 hours later, I'll be leaving for the airport.
Yep, and then I will pick you up in the morning at some point in time on a Tuesday,
I'm so
right?
Excited. I'm not excited for
Okay,
I'm not excited for the airport.
I mean, you've done it once before. It's not that bad.
And it's literally the same airports.
That's great. That's awesome.
So that's pretty cool.
You love that. And then what I'm actually most excited for about the trip is because you and DJ are coming in at different times. So you're early in the morning, DJ's in the afternoon, which means that we get to hang out in one of the larger towns in Nebraska for like 6 hours. And I don't even know what we're going to do. It's going to be you, me, and Grant. It's going to be great. Also, Matt.
Oh, it's going to be so fun.
Nervousness is normal.
It's totally normal. Wait, when are you starting?
Great. When does it start up? I'm incredibly intrigued.
We've been
You've sent a lot of stuff in the Discord, and I've loved every part of it. I need to know. Late to early January. So like today.
So we're getting there.
Late Jan, early Feb. Gotcha.
But we're getting close. It's close.
It is close. I'm excited for you. And you have Wander in that group, right? Am I correct on that one? You have someone in that group that is also in the Discord and messages regularly. Something like that? Am I crazy? Falling apart?
No. I'm pretty sure Wander's in the pretty sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, look at us remembering.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I'm not
look at that memory
most of the time.
Golden.
Oh man, I'm sure that it'll do incredibly well. You're gonna do great. Super proud of you. Tell us how it goes.
I'm so proud. You're gonna do great. It's gonna be so fun.
You. If you want more gosh dang updates on Maz's Dungeons & Dragons game, please join us on our Discord. Where Maz will tell you all about it.
Going back to kind of the arty things, I still need an opportunity to do my Wild Oracle Adventures Tarot.
Yes.
Try that out.
Which means that we need to play another Dungeons & Dragons game on Table Scrap sometime.
Right.
Which I want to do, but everyone else in the group is a bunch of losers. And never joins us on here, except for when they're like, I mean, I guess we got like an hour. Drew, do you want to play it in person? Yes.
Do you think maybe that?
Yeah. I'm there. I'm in.
Okay, cool. And then you guys will be there in person and can help me learn. Nice.
Oh my god, that means that I'll be the first one to get to stream in person. Losers. I'm excited for you all to show up, and we're gonna stream here in person, and everything's gonna break.
Everything's just broken.
Yeah. Oh man, it's gonna be. I don't even know what we're gonna do for like the majority of the time that you're here.
I mean, Honestly, I will just love if it's like our Zoom calls where we're just in the same room and just don't.
I'm just going to be working on homework
and
the
I'm just
entire time.
I'll just be doing something off in the corner. Yeah.
Oh, man. So, yeah, school started up for me this week, but I didn't have any assignments. They were like, we're going to save it all for next week. The one where you have Lydia there. That's what we're going to do.
It's okay. I'll just bug Grant.
That's a fair decision, in my opinion. You know what we're going to do? What we're going to do?
What are we gonna do?
I'm not even sure if I'll have... So, I know that I'll have your, like, the place where you will be sleeping ready for you. But I don't know if I'll completely have the area that we need to stream in done. So I'm just going to force you to clean for like 3 days. Like we're just going to clean. And you're going to be great at it because I suck at it. I'm the type of guy who like I like things around me. I don't like to be touched, but like I like to be surrounded by clutter. Like
I was just gonna say I'm a pretty cluttered person too. So I might not be as good as you think.
I know you'll do great. You'll be fine. And you're incredibly strong, so I'll just have you pick up the couch and throw it out.
Yeah. With the 4-pound limit I have.
Yes. I mean, you can pick up almost a box of Starbursts.
I'm so excited to be sat next to you Monday. That's gonna be hilarious.
Oh man.
I'm like either I need to be by either Aaron or Drew, because it's like
I'm pumped.
Just the difference.
It's gonna be we let's just do both. I'm so excited. I'm almost more excited than playing the game. Is I just get to show off my sick table.
I'm so excited for your table.
I'm not proud about a lot of things, and I didn't even really make the table myself. Most of it was my brother with his incredible ability to do literally whatever he wants with incredible skill. But I am proud of this table, and it is my favorite thing. It is my favorite thing. It's such a good table, and it's like made for role-playing games. And we'll have a map because my table has a plexiglass center that has grid paper underneath it, and I have a set of gosh dang dry erase markers or wet erase markers, so that way DJ can draw maps.
That's crazy, man.
We'll have maps.
We're gonna have maps.
We're gonna have maps, and it's gonna be super scuffed because we don't have any miniatures.
No. I don't know what I'll
Let me tell you, Maz, I considered laser etching the grid onto the table, but I wanted to be able to switch out grid paper for like actual printed maps. If you wanted, like, I wanted to be able to change what was on the table whenever I wanted to. So you can just like pick up the plexiglass, slide whatever you want underneath it. So like if I ever have like a world map or something and I don't have any specific campaign map for like that session, I can have that under there and it still looks sick. And stuff like that. And it's really cool, and I think it's really cool. That's my takeaway. We're gonna have really scuffed chairs though, because
that's okay.
None of
my chair's already
match.
scuffed.
I just have a random collection of chairs. One of them has a printer on it.
It's not about the chairs.
It's not about the chairs. It's about the
table.
It's not
about the chairs. It's about the table.
And I'm so excited to show off my woodwork that I have lacquered and put work into, and it looks really cool. It's a good table. It's a good table.
So excited. Mm-hmm. It's gonna be so fun.
See, Maz, I'm big brain in it. Big brain in it with not laser etching the table. I suppose you could just do both and laser etch the table and put a plexiglass over it. It's about the Mets, baby. Love the Mets. Get a home run. It's like have you seen the Moist Critical Ooh, baby, that's what we're here for. Oh, man. So, Lydia, I have a very important question for you.
What's up?
We have currently been streaming for 1 hour, 58 minutes, and 30 seconds.
Ooh.
So basically 2 hours.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm out of main campaign stuff to talk about, I think. I don't think I can think of any more.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure that I could if I was really forced to. Like, if we still had 30 minutes, I would come up with something. I don't necessarily have anything else to talk about outside of this.
Mm-hmm.
Do you?
I do not.
So
Lambente was the art quest, and I got that one.
We have a couple of options.
Okay.
We could end the stream here, which is a viable option. One that I'm okay with.
Maz Boggle redraw.
I have. Let me finish my long and drawn out explanation of what exactly is happening.
Sorry.
God. Oh my god. We can end the stream here. I'm going to play volleyball tonight in the evening, so that would give me a little bit of time in between there. Or we could do art stuff.
I think we should save the art stuff.
Save the art stuff?
For another day.
Another day. Also, I am going to announce it here, because I haven't told anyone else in the cast other than Grant this, and Grant's all for it. I hang out with Grant like every day. All right, I don't have as many options with you.
That's not fair.
I mean,
He's there.
Yes, that's the exact reason why.
That's not fair.
One of the things that I am going to encourage everyone here to do, and by everyone here I mean the rest of the cast, because Grant's all for it, is an increase, and by that I mean a start of impromptu streams. A bold statement. I know. Basically, my thought process was, we all do a lot of stuff for the Paper Dungeon that some people may find very interesting. That isn't spoilers or anything like that, but is just like a thing that we do for it that is also on the internet. And so for those of us who have the capability to stream stuff, I think that we should stream it. So like Grant editing a YouTube video or coming up with a song or things like that. I got him on board. There's a chance that randomly you may see a notification that says that the Paper Dungeon went live. That is most likely because either me, Grant, or whoever else I can rope into it went live with the Paper Dungeon. And who knows what we'll be doing. Grant and Drew are probably the ones that are most exciting, because mainly Grant. Because Grant's going to be doing all sorts of random things. He's like, I know exactly what I could do. Oh, and he got really excited about it. So you may see that. I think that it's a great thing for us to just get more content out there that is just super casual, shows a bit of behind the scenes work, and you may even learn something from. Like, if you're interested in learning how to edit podcasts or YouTube videos, Grant and Drew know how to do that, and they do it well. Lydia, if you're ever interested in, like, literally you can be muted and literally just draw things for the Paper Dungeon, and it can be like one of our things, stream it. I think people would be pumped to do that and watch it, and we will cover a very broad range of people. So look out for it. I would watch just a stream where DJ rigs up his webcam to point down at a piece of paper and he just draws a map for like 2 hours. I think that would be sick. So that is a thing that you might see going on in the future. I don't know when exactly we'll start doing it, but I am going to push for you. I'm not talking to you, Lydia. I'm talking to the people behind the screen.
Okay.
For all you people watching here, this is for you. So you get to see more of us do things that we like to do for you. That was a lot of us and yous, but you get the point of it. So be there. It'll be great. Who knows? You may even learn something. It'll be fun. We're hilarious. We're great people. Super, super humble. Super cool. There will probably be me and Grant on stream, maybe even in the same room, where you just get to watch me actually make fun of Grant in person, and that'll be a great time. You'll get to see Grant and I develop a song by him going, I don't know, do you think we should add more or less love? Definitely down on the love. Increase the danger, but decrease the fear. More danger, less fear. A little bit less love. Sprinkle
overall
happiness.
Hopelessness.
Yeah, that's what we're looking for. He's like, okay, all right.
God.
Yeah. Well, let me grab my guitar. He wheels back in his chair.
Falls over.
Yeah. But yeah, so if you see us go live, stop in or don't. Pretty much we're just looking for ours and anyone that we can grab by chance. And maybe we can even introduce some Dungeons and Dragons to people that maybe have no interest in RPGs and just watch us to see Lydia draw because she's really good at it. Speaking of which, cool little thing about Lydia.
Why does she get so small to type?
She's got a store. I don't have to. I was purposefully hunching over for that one. Normally I type like this. Normally you can't even tell if I'm typing.
I know, that's why I loved it.
That's because Lydia's store is important enough to do it. That cool art that I mentioned, she puts on shirts and sick hardcover notebooks. I will start the hardcover revolution. Buy them. They are the superior form of book. They're even more superior because Lydia has art on them, and they're great.
Wow.
Yep. I'm going to say it right here, bold claim. Also, thank you, Maz, for sending that socials and stuff. We have TikTok, Instagram, Twitter. Technically, we have a Facebook page. I think we've looked at it twice.
I think it will sometimes post things I post on Instagram to the Facebook page.
Pretty sick.
I don't know if it does because I never look at it.
We also have a YouTube that you should watch.
We do.
And
and guess what?
Shorts.
Guess what your girl put on the YouTube today?
What?
New intro is up on YouTube.
Yeah, the new intro that Lydia made, and because of that, it's really good. That's pretty much how it works. Lydia makes a thing, and we all love it.
And definitely check out TikToks because we got some funny ones this week.
Yes, we did. Deathless Morning. Other than that, we have a Discord. I know I've said it about 1,000 times. Our Discord is rad, and we have rad people there. And often it isn't even us that are the rad people, but sometimes it is.
Occasionally.
Be there. Join us. Look up Maz's campaign. They talk about it, and it's cool. Why is Lydia so amazing? I could talk for hours, but sadly, we don't have the time. Yeah, Wander, what's the deal with that? You're so late.
Yeah, where you been?
Kids these days. You have joined us just as we are about to sign off. I think I have covered every announcement that I can have, other than we stream on Mondays. Be there. And we do this on Thursdays sometime in the afternoon, according to Central Standard Time. We try to get as close as possible.
Next Thursday we'll be in person.
Yes, unless I can't figure out how to set up the cameras, and then we will be in the same house. But slightly different. It'll be awesome. Yeah, other than that,
I think we got it all.
In that case, I have to end with our tagline and stall for time, as I always forget to get to the gosh dang ending scream. I clicked on the right one. In that case, good luck and godspeed. We will see you next time. Dungeoneers. Goodbye, everybody.